right, it is February 2022, Ohiopyle State Park, Youghiogheny River. We're about 100 yards downstream on the Youghiogheny River. Across the river, that's Ferncliff Peninsula. We're on the other side of the Youghiogheny River. Up there is the Great Gorge Trail. 100 yards back that way is the Cucumber Run stream that comes into the Youghiogheny. Upstream of the Cucumber Run is the Cucumber Falls, which we just started at. And there's a parking lot. Where I'm standing is literally 15 minutes away from the parking lot. May seem to be in the remote area, but it is not. That's one of the great things about Ohiopyle State Park. From their parking lots, you can get into the wild really fast. We're going to be walking down the river here, up to this set of boulders up here, which is, I guess, the end of what are called the Cucumber Rapids here. Today in our hiking, we started upriver, back that way. Where that roof is, I believe that's the privately owned home. And then a couple hundred yards past that privately owned home is the Meadow Run. And that home is actually on the... I don't know if that's the home. That might be the water station, the river water station. One way or the other. As you can see, the trees get blown down the river and they get stuck on the rocks. This big tree right up here, which is going that way, if that were down lower, that'd be called a sweeper, because when the kayakers and boaters come down, those trees sweep the boaters out of their boats. So what the park people do is they chop off all those sweepers, so when the kayakers and boaters come down, they don't get knocked out of their boats by these trees that get stuck there. All right, we're gonna walk down here. We're gonna go down here and then go to Stick Beach, which I call the big eddy, right past these big boulders over here. These boulders are definitely a field trip for Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. They definitely should come here. I really wish that I'd have been in the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts here in Western Pennsylvania. You definitely want to come here. Do some camping and stay at Ohiopyle, and definitely do this hike along the river here between Cucumber Run and then these big boulders here. They have some spectacular, they're either fossils, there's fossils everywhere. Here's a fossil right here. Those are legitimate fossils. I'm not sure whether these little, I'll show you when I get to a better one. All this debris between the rocks, this water debris, this was all swept here when the water was higher. Where we're standing, the water was up this high. In fact, the water was all the way up to where this big tree stump was here. All this was deposited here when the river was higher. Yeah, where we're standing, water was all the way up to where we're standing. That's when it's super high. Virtually all these boulders are covered. It's just a brown mass of water. I'll have to get here. This year I was unable to be here when it was higher. When I fully retire, then I'll definitely plan to come here those days when the water is just up to 8 feet, 10 feet. Today it's probably only around 3 feet. Fossils everywhere in these rocks. And these little depressions, those are the There's some boulders coming up that have literally thousands and thousands of those little, look like a nut, seed chamber right on the boulder. But I think that might be from the ancient plants, not ancient animals that ate the rock. There were these little crustacean bugs that would get right on the rocks and then eat them. Sort of like a cross between a trilobite and a sea slug, I think, something like that. This debris pile right here was put here by the high river. It kind of makes sense if you really think about it. The water could be extremely high right here because Main Falls is only about 3/4 of a mile back upstream. Cucumber Run is just pouring water in here, and then just upstream 1,000 yards is Meadow Run. So you got Main Falls, Meadow Run, Cucumber Run, pouring water into this section here, and that's why all the debris comes flying down in the water. And it was piled up this high, not this year but the prior year. I've taken dozens and dozens of videos prior to this debris pile and then after this debris pile, which have bracketed the year. It was 2021 January, late January, this debris pile was put here. So over the years, you're going to have similar debris piles. I talked with one of the 30-year veteran boater company guys who does the river for 30 years. And he said he's noticed over the years the debris that gets left one year, stuff gets washed down this far, and then a couple years later it gets washed down a little bit further. So there's a constant rearrangement of the debris on both sides of the river over the decades. So it's 2022, it's February 20th. And what's it, about 1 or 2 o'clock p.m. Sunday. One of the nice things about hiking in the cold is you then aren't going to be disturbing the hibernating animals. You're not going to be surprising the snakes or anything. They're all definitely sleeping right now.